Okay, so this is a 96 Chevy S10. The problem with it was that the high speed would not work. It would only work in 1, 2, 3. And if you have problems with 1, 2, 3 speeds, you need to change the motor blower resistor where that is located right. I changed this a couple weeks ago, so I think it's this one right here. Okay, so if 1, 2, and 3 speeds don't work, you need to change out that blower motor resistor. I think that's what it's called. If so, when I put that resistor in, I don't know if it was bad luck or whatever you want to call it, but my 4th speed stopped working. And what I did from there was I did some searching around the internet and managed to find out that it could be possibly this blown one of the relays, and this was the one that I checked all 4 of them. That one was the one that had, let me show you here, that had some obvious damage. So you can see right there, the bottom right, it is melted, and that, I don't think there's a way to check like the actual relay or fuse, whatever this is called, itself, but you can definitely tell that it has some issues there. So based off of that, I went ahead and decided to buy a new one. They are $20 at O'Reilly's. I don't know what the actual part is actually called, so I went ahead and just took the whole, as you can see, it's different. I went ahead and took the whole relay out of there, and the way you do that is there's a little clip back here, so you clip that and then you pull this up. I've pulled these out so many times that most of the times they just come right out. You unhook it from there and this whole piece comes out, and from there you can go to your parts store and they should be able to get that exact same one. Just make sure they are formatted the same way to be able to go right into your connector there. So that is the high speed problem that I was having. Got it fixed. It works fantastic now. One other thing I wanted to mention is that when I am driving the vehicle, sometimes the heater and AC will intermittently and simultaneously, with no warning whatsoever, shut off, and then sometimes it turns back on, sometimes it doesn't. And we're talking about the heater and AC. So what I managed to find out is I was thinking I was going to need a new blower motor, or the blower motor fuse was blown or some, I don't know. So I checked all those things. Everything seemed to be fine. But so my blower motor is located right there, passenger side. So this is the 96 Chevy S10 V6 4x4. So that right there is your blower motor right next to your AC system. And so what I managed to find out is that when I move this little connector here that attaches to the blower motor, this one right here, this one connects. If you take off these screws right here, which I did, took a peek at the blower motor, it seemed to be fine. There was no broken parts of the fan in there or anything like that, so I guesstimated that it was fine. So once I put it back on, everything seemed to be the same, and it would, you drive it, sometimes it turns on, sometimes it turns off, and it seemed to me that sometimes it would happen when I would hit a bump or something like that. So once in a while I would hit the bumps a little faster or a little slower depending on what I wanted it to do. So if the heater was off, for example, now that it's cold cold out, I'm using the heater, but same thing with when it was really hot, 100+ degrees out, when the AC would stop working randomly. Sometimes I felt like the reasoning was behind it, that it was like something was loose, or I hit a bump and it seemed like that's when it mostly turned on or off. So what I did was I was messing around with it. I had it turned on and it turned off the heater like normal. So then typically what it would do, it would turn back on sooner than later when I was driving it. But this time it managed to not turn on anymore, so I had to do some digging and start looking. So your problem is going to be this connector right here. I'm probably going to jerry rig something just so I don't have to screw around with it anymore, because I've already messed around with this and spent a weekend on it already. What I need, I think, is a new connector there, because when I screw around with this, it comes back on the heater, and or if you're in the summer, the AC would turn back on. So that's my problem with the intermittent heater turning on and off randomly. It is because, in my instance at least, it is because of this connector attached to the blower motor there. So my suggestion for that would be to replace your connector.